Okay, you guys, it looks like we're live, so I'm excited here. Um, Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Beth. Good morning, Marlene and Kathy. Yay! That's a fun little group we have on this morning. So here we are, another icky day as far as weather. I keep saying I'm not going to talk about the weather, but how can you not talk about the weather, right? So I broke out my winter buffalo plaid coffee cup because why not, right? All right. So this morning I have a few things to talk about. I have been getting feedback from my peeps, my Stampin' peeps, that catalogs are landing in your mailboxes. I hope that you have received yours. If you have not, please just hang in there. I know they're coming. But I don't know why it's just kind of so hit and miss about who gets them and who's not right now. I know it's bulk mail, so bulk mail always makes it interesting. But anyway, hang in there. Your catalog's coming. And if you cannot wait for the mail, I have catalogs here. So you're welcome to stop by and pick up a catalog too. Just let me know. Okay, let's go down to the workstation and take your coffee with. And I've got a fun little project for us. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to flip this just a bit, and I think we're good. All right. Beth, I'm glad you have your coffee because it is just kind of a coffee morning. So, is what I want to talk about first is I just want to mention my In Color Club is open for registration. It's really fun. You're going to get everything that's included here, and you can get all the details on my website or in my newsletter. I did notice I had one little mistake in here, and I said you'd be invoiced for payment on May 3rd. I can actually start invoicing for payment on April 26th, so in 3 days. And then all kits will be mailed by the 31st of May, provided I can get the product, and we all know how the whole supply chain has been working, so blah 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 blah. Anyway, it's a great club. Not only do you get all the products listed, but you will get a 5-card PDF tutorial with video links and a special stamp surprise. And the cost for the In Color Club is $125 this year. Okay? So check that out. And because I talked about in colors, today's project is, and I thought this was very fitting for today. I did not know that the weather was going to be quite like this when I designed the cards, but I have used in colors. This is the Tahitian Tide. Here is the Sweet Sorbet and the Orchid Oasis. Now, here's a little bit of news. I have old and new on here. Let me show you the products that I used, okay? So I have used the Flowering Rain Boots bundle. The bundle includes the stamp set and the dies. Some of the dies I'm using because I'm going to use those in the project. But I did do a cutout of all of the dies so you can see what's included. And as you can see, the tulips, the stems, the rain boots, the pot, the flowers, the trowel. The trowel is simply a die, and so is this border piece. And when you cut the border piece, you also get all these little squares or diamonds, depending upon how you turn them. But this is really, really a fun set, so I hope you'll look at that. This one is not carrying over. This is from the what am I trying to say? January to June mini catalog. Okay. So we'll be using the stamps from that. And I'm also going to be using, no, that was a different card. I'm going to be using the Ocean Front, which this did carry over, and it is a great set, and I'll show you what I mean with that. And then I'm also going to be taking the Thinking of You sentiment from On the Horizon. And from what I can tell by looking in the new catalog, the On the Horizon set did not carry over, but the Ocean Front did. Okay. So let's talk about our pieces. I have a piece of several pieces of paint, actually. I have our standard medium envelope, our card base, 1.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. Another piece of basic white, 3 3/4 by 5. I have a scrap of basic white for stamping and die cutting. And then I have a piece, a brand new color, a new in color, and it's beautiful. It's called the Orchid Oasis. And this measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Okay. And honest, today's card is a very simple stamp. I just love this sentiment, and I really love just really kind of the simpleness of our card. So I'm just going to set these aside for now. We're going to bring in our scrap and our 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece, and we'll stamp. Okay. I'm going to bring in my rubber mat and grab the Balmy Blue. And you guys, this is what I was talking about with these stamps from the Ocean Front. I'm going to be using this one and this one today. So what I'm going to do is open up my Balmy Blue, and I need a little scratch piece to stamp off on too. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp off. I'm going to stamp on. And then I'm just going to huff. Remember huffing on your finger. So I'm just going to, because all that does is just re-inks a little bit, or re-moisturizes the ink so that you can get that second generation look. So we get like this watercolor background. I'm light to dark. And these background stamps. Hi, Marilyn. Good morning. I think this is the first hopping on to my Coffee and Create. All right, so now I've got my soft suede ink, and I'm going to ink up this stamp from the set. And I'm just going to ink it up. And remember, when you ink, to move around on your ink pad, don't just stay right in the middle, because your ink depletes and then you don't get an even stamp. So I'm just going to put this right down here, and hopefully is what this will do is just ground our flowers. Okay, so now we've created this water color background. Good morning, Carol. Did you guys love all that thunder that came rolling through this morning? It was like, oh my gosh. All right, so there's our background piece, and I'm just going to leave that alone for a minute. I'm going to bring in my scrap, and I want to use another of the new in colors, this Parakeet Party. I love this green. Tried to even dress for the occasion today. So I'm going to put the tulip stems, stamp those. And then I'm going to bring in that beautiful Orchid Oasis. This is another new color. And ink this up. And I'm just going to stamp those right above. Now, when you first stamp this Orchid Oasis, it looks really dark. And as it dries, it lightens. So that's kind of cool. So now is what I've done is stamped the stems and the flowers from the Flowering Rain boots. So let's bring in our mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss. I use this non-slip shelf liner underneath my die cutting machines. It just helps to keep them in place. So I have plate number 1, cutting plate number 2. I'm going to put my stamped images that I want to cut out. And I do have a piece of just the low tack tape to hold it in place. And I'm going to bring in the stems from the tulips. We'll put those right on here. And let's run these through. And remember, with the mini, you always want to stagger your plates. You don't want all the edges even, okay? So there's our pass through the mini. And let's see what we got. All right. Take up our low tack tape easily. And there's our flowers. And their stems. Okay. Let's put our background piece that we stamped back in. And I'm going to bring in another new in color. This is called Starry Sky. And it's dark, but it's not as dark as like Night of Navy. It looks beautiful with Night of Navy. I'm going to take this little sentiment from the rain that says, "Rain or shine, I'm here for you." And I'm going to stamp that right where those two met, the two backgrounds. Okay. And then before I put this away, I'm going to bring our card base back in. You like that, Carol? I think you're talking about the die cutting. Yeah. Die cutting makes, I mean, it just brings your card making up like 5 notches. Now I'm using that Thinking of You sentiment from On the Horizon right here. I use the Starry Sky, ink it up, stamp it down, just like that. See what I mean about how fitting this is for today's weather? It's like, wow. All right, so here's that piece of Orchid Oasis that measured 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to add some liquid. Whoa, I took my whole thing apart there. Wow, that was interesting. Oh, I know why that's like that. Right. Add some adhesive. And I'm going to center this with just teeny tiny 1/8 of an inch border on our piece. Okay. And then I'm going to add some more adhesive onto the back of our Orchid Oasis. And that down just like that. See how that just makes it pop by adding that color? All right. So our tulip stems, I'm going to add adhesive to those. And I'm just going to sew those right here. Remember, I wanted to ground our tulips using the soft suede. And then our tulips that we just die cut, I'm going to flip those over and bring in some of our Stampin' Dimensionals. So take your pick tool, and I'm just going to pick these up and place them on the back. And is what this is going to do, the dimensionals just add, guess what? Dimension card. So I'm going to set those right up here, and you'll see this tall flower right here. If you light it up with that stem, all of the flowers fall into place on the other stems. That's what I thought you meant, Carol. I'm glad that you think it's cool. And it's obviously maybe something new to you, which it's always fun to share new things. Old stamping things with new stamping friends. So, all right. Now, this needs a little sparkle, a little pizzazz, a little something, right? Well, these are also on the last chance list. Good morning, Debbie. Welcome. So these are silver and clear epoxy essentials, and they're perfect for this card because while there are clear raindrops, there's also the silver, and I just think they make this card pop. Let me use my putty here. Well, there it goes. Just add some sparkly raindrops. To our tulips. And whenever I add embellishments, I like to add an odd number. So 3, 5. This one will give it 5. It's really raining out today and it's foggy. I know, right? Coffee cards and thunder. I know. It just doesn't get much better than this. But the nice thing is like when it's this kind of day, I do not feel one little bit bad about being inside crafting. I love it. I love it. I love it. So as the weather gets nicer and we're outside, that makes it a little bit more difficult to be inside crafting. I have thinking of you on the inside, rain or shine, I'm here for you. And then you know the story at Brenda, we do not leave naked envelopes. So is what I'm going to do is just bring in my little green stems, and right down here bottom right, I'm just going to add some stems and bring that Orchid Oasis back in, ink it up, and lining up my tall tulip, add that to the corner of my envelope. In fact, while we fill this out, let's do a little more on the inside too. A lot of times I will stamp down here, but today I want to add it over here, and then that leaves me more room for writing. I'm just going to ink up, stamp it in, and now our inside is just as pretty as our outside. I'll show you some samples I did using the rest of the in colors. And I hope you'll give my in color club a try. It's really fun. I've done it the last 3 years, and my customers have been very, very pleased. I've gotten really good feedback on them. But let me bring in the other sample and show you these beautiful colors. They're just awesome. All right, so this was our Orchid Oasis, right? And then we have the Tahitian Tide, which if any of you are long time Stampin' Up, I know a couple of you are long time Stampin' Up customers, the Tahitian Tide reminds me a lot of what used to be called Tempting Turquoise. So this is the Tahitian Tide. And then I also did one, the Sweet Sorbet. So there is another episode of Coffee and Create with Brenda. I hope you love today's projects. I hope you'll give them a try. And again, if you are interested in my In Color Club, be sure to go out to my website, createwithbrenda.com, and you can fill out your registration form to save your spot in the club. All right, guys, stay warm, stay dry, and you know there's gotta be flowers coming soon, right? All right, until next Saturday,